a victory after 3 years, you're back, and exactly what you planned.
Bing, bop, boom, bop, bam. The type of shit I'm on, he wouldn't understand. And, at the end of the day, man, to do what I do and to live this life, man, it's been a 29-year road, And I know a lot of people just wonder what Keith Thurman has, but Keith Thurman has the heart and the will of a champion today, tomorrow, and forevermore.
Talk us through the fight. What did you think of round one? He caught you with a shot in there?
I mean, he just did what he did, So it's very interesting, We going to do the touch gloves. My mind's focused on execution, skill, seeing what he's going to bring to the table. I knew that was his strong suit. What he gave me in round one, that's what he wishes he can do for 10 rounds, right? I just knew I'm not going to make the fight like that for 10 rounds, So I just wanted to see what Brock really feels like. And it was the animosity that he had that gave me this idea. I didn't fully have that idea locked in until I approached him and we go to touch up, and he's still like, oh, let's see who really wants it now. He's still bridging up on me out here, And so I said, all right, he's got this much animosity pent up in him. He's been waiting all week to finally do something. Let's see what that is. Let's see what that manifestation of all that pent up frustration. Let's see what that is in the physical world, and where else better than the physical ring in round one. So I can feel his power, his strength, his inside approach, his looping shots, his inside gutters, and I felt everything. He can't do more than what he did in round one. All he can do is repeat that and maybe potentially land cleaner shots. But I was keeping him smothered. I was letting him work, and obviously coach didn't like round one, and he said, let's not do that again. Let's get back on the stick, work the jab, work everything off the jab. He's just standing there. You're going to be able to open him up off the jab. I saw what coach was talking about. I saw that flat-footed approach. I said, let's just take it nice and easy, do what coach said. Let's work off the jab, see what opens up. And I did that in round two. He said, pivot on the inside, don't stay on the inside. I kept, every time he threw those loopers, you saw him miss now, and I'd be moving around. And after I found that nice technicality, in round three, we were doing the same thing. Plus, in round two, I was landing a few body shots. Mostly, it was coming off from the right hook I was setting up. I was trying to set up the right hook to distract him, to bring this glove down so that eventually, later on in the fight, I can go with an overhand right looper. So I was just setting up some traps, some groundwork on that end. But in the third round, I actually came around on the left side, boom, got behind the elbow, and he gave me a wince. He gave me that wince, and I said, you didn't like that, Brocky. And so I stepped forward, he stepped back. I saw the mouth breathing, and these are just little signs that world champions need to know that he's not in a good place right now. I continued to press, and he's not strong on his back foot. He slowly started to crumble, and as I continued to put that pressure on him, I got a beautiful left uppercut inside, dropped him. He was able to get up. I mean, he was wobbly. I wasn't sure if the ref was going to stop it there or not. He gave him one more opening chance, but there was way too much pressure, way too much time left on the clock. I put the full press on him, foot on the gas, and now we're out here talking to you. Fight's over.
Were you surprised he let it continue after the first knockdown?
A little bit, but he did get up, and back in the day, let's talk boxing, back in the day, then as long as they were up, the fight was continuing, so it's very, this is a big production, yes, the ref could have stopped the fight, but if Brock had any chance of just getting out of the round and allowing the fight to continue on a big pay-per-view stage like this, there would have been more action, more entertainment to come. But obviously I didn't allow that to happen. I pressed the gas, and I closed out the show. Which as soon as I saw the ref about to say box, I said in myself, shit. I said, yeah, what are you going to do? A few seconds of thinking, what are you going to do? I mean, right now, it's not the time to be the nice guy. And so, it had nothing to do with the banter and the talk. It just was all boxing. And when you have an opponent weak on his feet, you just got to press and end the show. And unfortunately, I was given that opportunity, and I didn't hesitate to do what we do as gladiators, as fighters, and world class.
How important was that TikTok knockout?
Ironically, it's really just important to get back in the ring. You know, it was important to make a statement. We had a lot of good hype. I mean, you can't. A lot of people have been laughing all week. They love the antics. They love the robot walk, the brick walk that I did. It was the last moment I could tease him. And I didn't know, because when I first got in town, Brock was real stale. He was like a stale potato chip. He had nothing to say, nothing to do. And then as I keep poking at him, I don't know, somebody must have gotten in his ear and be like, look, man, he's in your city. He's in your town, bro. You can't let this chump come in here and talk like that and do it. Whoever got in his ear, I'm grateful, because it brought out a little bit of flavor, brought out a little bit of sugar, a little bit of spice from Brock. And it made the whole week a little bit more entertaining. And he was able to, try to do something in round one. And it was a good fight. I told him at the end of the fight when I went over there, I said, I love you. I've never hated you. This is all business. Best of luck to you.
Tszyu.
How does your boxing IQ match up against, say, Tszyu?
I mean, look, man, you gotta understand boxing. I was a 7-time national champion as an American fighter. I had probably about 80 to 81 wins, 11 losses before I ever turned pro. I was the Olympic alternate, similar to Mike Tyson. If you really know Mike Tyson's amateur story, he lost in the Olympic trials in the finals, and he did not get to go to the Olympic Games. Similarly, I did the same. I lost to a beautiful world-class fighter known as Demetrius Andrade in the finals of our USA Olympic trials, and it was Andrade who went on to the 2008 China Games representing America. So I've always just been in the ring with some of the best. I never lost an international event. As an amateur, I fought Canada and I fought Ukraine. Really fun story for you guys. USA versus Ukraine. Ukraine brings their A team. USA brings about C team. And everybody loses to Ukraine except for 2 fighters on the USA team. Would you like to know the name of those 2 fighters? The name of those 2 fighters are Keith Thurman and Sean Showtime Porter. The 2 fighters that beat Ukrainian fighters became world champions. And on the amateur stage, that just tells you the class that Ukraine brings in. We know from world champions in the past, the Russians, the Ukrainians, they really do learn boxing well, teach boxing well, and execute sometimes dominantly on the world stage. So the fact that Keith Thurman and Sean Porter were the only 2 Americans to win and came on to be world champions really says something about the country of Ukraine and what they produce when it comes to boxing. So my history is long and deep. And that IQ is real, man. That's why I was able to just do what I want to do in round 1, which was just let him show me his strength, his power. And then in round 2, slowly start to execute tactics. And then in round 3, picking my shots, they all just ended up being in my favor, and I closed the show.
What's the motivation to fight Tszyu? Why do you want to fight Tszyu?
It's for you. It's for you. It's for this country. And it's a little bit for me on the note of I signed my contract last year in 2024. I trained hard in preparation for Tszyu, and I popped my bicep tendon in the 11th round of sparring in preparation for that fight. I walked away from big money in Las Vegas, the type of money that makes you want to fight one-handed type of money, okay? Now, at the end of the day, with my faith in the sport, with my faith in myself and my faith in God Almighty, I said, you know what? The Lord is good. And if one door closes, another door shall open. Being here today is the evidence of my spirit, evidence of my resolve to always stay true to oneself, to give you guys the best performance that I can, and not just fight for the money, which is really hard to do at the top level. A lot want to fight for the money. I fight for the glory. I fight for the legacy. I fight because I'm a fighter. And every time Keith Thurman fights, you see the red, white, and blue, because Keith Thurman is living out his all-American dream every time I'm under these bright lights. So at the end of the day, I'm open to any contract right now. You know, Tszyu's not finalized. I know it's very easy to say, it's very easy to talk about. He obviously came off of 2 losses. He needs to get a W, right? I'm over here at Darling Harbor, staying at the W. It's a big old W, and Tszyu, he needs to go get his W, okay? So at the end of the day, that's very important, and I can't say without a doubt that if a great contract was to come to me from the U.S., that I wouldn't sign it and not really hold interest in Tszyu. But it was a lot of fun being here in Australia. It was a lot of fun performing under No Limit Boxing. They are doing a fantastic job with promoting boxing in Australia, and of course, I know they would love to see a fighter of my caliber to continue to put on some of the best fights out of any other promotional company here in the country. And, you know, we can negotiate those things if I don't have a better offer that comes to the table.
Is that US
All right,
fighter?
thanks, boys. Thanks, that's it for